Welcome. Bourbon with the Editor. My name is Dennis Spaeth. I'm a publisher, editor, owner, whatever else for Cutting Tool Engineering magazine and our publishing company. And we are hosting our Bourbon with the Editor tonight with our special guests from Vargus. And sitting at the other side of the bar from me is, on my left is Joe McGee, who's with Vargus and otherwise known as Joe Vargus. And to my right is Phil Gish, who is your Deep South application engineer.
Yep. Deep South, Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, North and South Carolina. He covers that area.
And before we get into discussing the Mill Pro, the thread milling cutters that we're going to be talking about in some detail, I want to just show everyone that this is the bourbon we're going to be drinking tonight. And we're going to start off by just pouring a quick glass for ourselves just to launch things off. So not that I have to do this on camera, but why not?
It's there.
So just launch things off. Cheers.
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 Okay, so let me share a little bit of something here now about this bourbon now that I've tasted it.
Sometimes the story's the best part of it.
Well, maybe it's the way I tell it. So, we know that bourbon is mostly affiliated with Kentucky.
Right.
Well, this is made in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and it's from the A. Smith Bowman distillery. Gets its name from a Revolutionary War soldier who lived in Virginia, worked in the farming industry for a living in the Bowman family, but preceded the distillery by over 100 years. But this soldier was quite the adventurous type, or at least he led an adventurous life. And I'll talk about it a little bit later, but this bourbon was named after him for its adventurous spirit, and it distilled in the oak barrels, right? But then taken out, and then for 3 months, it finished distilling in port wine barrels. So it's what gives its adventurous flavor.
Yeah.
So cheers to this.
I see where it says it has a fruity flavor, mild, fruity.
Oh,
Very
actually,
interesting.
This is really good.
Yeah.
I really do like it. I mean, I like, it's always surprising when whiskey is like smooth to me. I'm not.
Kind of dangerous.
Maybe they'll name a whiskey after me someday. In any event, I do want to get back to this guy's story at some point, but not right now. I think we need to get right into this. And I appreciate anyone who's tuning into this. This is the live version, so you're going to get to see our warts and all. But we have, like I said, Joe is here. He's been here before. We've done a number of these things together. And Phil, this is your first time here, so
Yes, sir.
But you're gonna be the kind of the star of the show because you're gonna be talking about quite a bit of the work that you've done with different customers and having to prove things out, and so you've got a lot of things to talk about. I think we should get right to it. So,
Well, I want to thank again, Dennis, for inviting us up to have another episode of Bourbon with the Editor. This time, like I said, Phil Gish from Kentucky, he's here. We're going to talk about our Mill Pro HD and our TMDR solid carbide thread mills. Basically, both of them are for a very difficult job, very hard to produce threads. And also, we'll have an intro, and Phil will take off here pretty soon, start talking about how you can program this into Genius and go from there.
Yep.
So, Phil, we'll let you start.
Yep. We're going to cover the Mill Pro HD line first. It's a product that Vargus offers. Its specialty is for your super alloys and your harder materials, heat treated materials and things of that nature. It's rated up to 62 Rockwell in our catalog, I believe, but not limited to. So, if you got a little bit of adventure in you like that bourbon, then maybe you'll run across some 70 Rockwell stuff and you'll throw this in there and see what it'll do. So,
Well, what's to stop you from experimenting, right?
yeah, right. I mean, that's how they found out it would do what it does now, right? Running through the initial testing.
I'll tell you what, when you have a product that you're making and it's really hard and you have a thread to put in it or you have to correct a thread milling's the only way to go. And once we came up with this style, and it's all about the geometry and the way it's made. And this really does a good job on hardened materials.
Yeah. What are we talking about? The solid?
Yeah, the Millie Pro one. When he's talking about the geometry, it's just the way the tool was designed with the cutting teeth.
Okay.
The two separate rows. They kind of act like one is almost like a roughing type scenario, and it's a partial profile. It leads into the full profile finishing edge of the tool. So with it being that designed that way and having the center cutting on the bottom as it kind of circle interpolates around, and that's what makes it possible to run through the harder materials and the heat resistant stuff so easily. I've tested these quite a few different places, and they're very I don't know what my word here is. But
Well,
very good
what's the
product.
reaction
Yeah, it's a
from
very
the
good product,
customers
so.
when they see?
It's usually, it can vary. Some people are hard to impress. Some guys are, easily impressed. But most of the time, it's extremely impressive. I get a lot of disbelief out of people. A lot of times with some of our tooling that does the harder materials.
And is that when you're in their shop showing them on their machine, or is it showing them from a video that you might?
No, usually it's in person. The videos are very helpful, in my opinion, to give people the visual of what the tool, what we say it can do. But the proof is always in the pudding, right? So
the geometry it's all about it. It has four teeth, 2 rows of teeth, like Phil said. One's a roughing, one's a finisher. So you run it left-handed from the top down, instead of from right-handed from the bottom up, which is a normal way of running thread mills. So when you come to this hard material, real tough material, there's a secret to the way we run it. We do that, we go to the Genius.
yeah, the Genius will help you generate your program that you need to process any hole that you're making with any of our thread mills. The run parameters chart that you'll find that information. It's also in the Genius. All your material breakdowns are in there, your chip loads, your surface footages, all that good stuff's in there for you to go off of.
We have one grade. It works across the board for all materials. And that grade there, you can run anywhere from slow down to 100 surface feet all the way up to 600 surface feet. Depends on what kind of material and application you have. And then the whole different size offerings. We have a whole range.
Yeah, the Millie Pro HD comes in a 2 times D and a 3 times D offering in a variety of sizes. And again, all of these applications can be found in the Genius when you're going through there. If you plug in a specific application, if this tool is offered, it will automatically populate into that software for you, so you can select that tool to run the processes you're needing done.
Yeah,
So-
mentioning the Genius a lot, and chances are there's going to be viewers who either now or later, when they watch the recorded version of this, who are going to know what that is if they've worked with you in the past. But if they're not aware, it's an online software interface that you've developed to help people pick the right tool, know what it'll recommend the tool for you once you put in your parameters.
It's an extremely user-friendly software. When I started with Vargus and Joe was the one that actually showed it to me. It literally did blow my mind because of how user-friendly it was. I mean, you almost can't go wrong. It's just everything that you're picking down through there, and the Genius defaults to what is recommended. Once you get your tool selected that you want to use, every parameter from there on defaults to what Vargus recommends that you run that tool at. Not saying that that's what you have to do, but it's a really good starting point when you go to the genius to create your program.
So it leaves people room to fiddle with it and see
Oh,
what
absolutely.
works, maybe even
Absolutely.
better than what.
Absolutely.
It's also a good way of seeing what kind of cycle time it's going to take to do this product. Say you have 5 holes, and you need to know how long it's going to take you to do that 5 holes in that Rockwell 50 material. You can go in, the genius, fill it all out. It asks you question for question about all your process, and then it'll come up with a cycle time so you know about what you're doing. And every tool we have Genius support on. So everything we sell, the Genius will help write the program or come up with the speeds and feeds, and that passes. So we even got a test report I think we can talk about.
Yeah,
right?
we got a test study that I pulled off of the portal for the gentlemen like me that work at Vargus. It's to help us get a good starting point, or we can go through this program and we can find applications that are very similar to what we're trying to do at any particular customer that we're going to be standing in front of. They may ask you questions like, hey, we got whatever their material may be. If it's a titanium or a super duplex stainless of some sorts, then they have questions about it, and we can pull this up. That it's a test report that will give you basically all of the parameters of another applications engineer somewhere in the world that ran basically the same scenario that you are, and it, like I said, it'll give us a really good place to go to, so that we can implement this process at one of our new end users or a current customer that we may be dealing with, and they're having a problem area. Because you get into some of these alloys and they're problems. I mean, they're people are going to call you on them, and they're going to need the support. And this is an awesome tool for us to be able to provide to the customers.
So are they seeing this?
So, now this is for us.
That's for you, so you know where to start.
We can show them these things. I can print one of these out, and whenever I walk into somewhere to, if I go to one of our customers to solve an issue, I will have a copy of this with me so that I can, reference back to what one of my colleagues did in the past.
Yeah, we have the viewers are seeing a sample of what it is you might have.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
it's
not a huge secret. It's just it's valuable information to get through, so that we're not all so you're not walking in there and just kind of winging it.
Yeah.
You want a good starting point. You want to see what somebody's done in the past, and it was successful. It worked.
Yeah.
This right here will explain what they did, the tool life that they got.
We've got a slide 5
it'll have
test
your run
report.
parameters and all that good stuff on there for us to look at to go off of when we get there. So
A lot of times
did you want to say anything about the test report slide?
right
I mean, this is one of our Millie Pro HDs, the product that we're talking about right now. And like I said, I didn't want to wear everybody out with it, but it'll give you a breakdown of what this particular application was. It was a metric thread, and it'll just break down the whole process on the left where it says application details. It'll tell you what they were doing, and then it'll give you the workpiece that talks about their material, and then the tooling data breaks it down as that's our the order number for this particular tool. It tells you the grade of carbide that it is, and it tells you the recommended holder. Or I'm sorry. On a report like this is the holder that they used. They used the ER style collet holder in this particular application. And then it'll break down all your cutting conditions, your surface footage, the chip load that they ran. It gives you your spindle speed, tells you their process, whether they climb milled or conventional milled. And then, like Joe said earlier about the cutting time, it tells you at the bottom how long it took to process each individual hole. And it gives you a breakdown of what the results were. Was it a good finish? Was it an excellent finish? Did the tool wear out? Did it break? So we use this particular program here for everything. So it'll tell you whether they were breaking tools, whether they were lasting through, getting good tool life. I mean, so it's a good reference for us to be able to go back through. So like I said, we're not just in there punching buttons from the go. And if you can walk in with a proven test report on one of our products, then we're probably going to look really good while we're there, because we're not going to be starting from scratch and running through tools to try to get to where they got here, which the Genius will give you a really good start on your run parameters for your surface footage and your chip loads. So
this is all hard data too.
Yeah,
So
this
it's
is
not just an idea or a theory or what I said it would work. It's all hard data. Inches per revolution, surface feet, RPMs. It tells you everything that's hard data. So it's actually you can measure it and show you your costs. Cost savings and parts per out the door is the most important part of our job.
We have a demo of this that you were going to...
Yeah, there's a demo video of the MilliPro HD. It gives you a good idea of how the tool processes.
So what are we seeing in this video?
You're basically that's giving you a good visual of how the tool actually processes. As Joe said before, the tool does run in a opposite spindle orientation than normal tools, because it is running circle interpolation, but it's starting at the top down. So you want to stay with a climb mill style operation, and that's what it is. Normally with thread milling, you're working from the bottom up. That's notoriously what you will do, but there are a handful of tools that we do offer and a handful of specific applications that you will do that require you to go from the top down. So when you do that, you'll have a left hand tool, and it'll work its way from the top of the hole to the bottom, and it'll give you a right hand thread. So
And I think that video shows a lot dry. Usually you want to run this coolant, but you can't see anything when the coolant's running.
Right.
So
Right.
we usually like to run it. It shows a little bit of a half hole, shows you how it works. But it runs really well when you got the coolant on full blast and everything's blowing all them
Yeah,
chips
so
out.
you
of the
don't
hole.
recommend running it dry. Okay.
Not really, unless you have to. So
Well, I appreciate it. It's a good video. So, yeah. And, I mean, I think you can see clearly what you were describing there.
good.
So we'll go just a little summary of our MilliPro here. You know, we go from 440 up to 7/16 14 in diameter in the UN. Also in ISO, we go from an M2 all the way up to an M1.25. So a very big range. We have 2.5 times diameter and 3 times diameter. I think I'm right there, yeah. So, and these tools are meant for hard, nasty material, hard, difficult application. So that's why we wanted to showcase the MilliPro HD. So if you have a question about it or something like that, let's let us know. Get a hold of a Vargus guy. We'll get you some test tools.
And what might be we talking about? Looking at aerospace?
Looking at Inconels, you're looking at titaniums, you're looking at your super duplex stainless, you're looking at tool steels that have been heat treated above 55 to 60 Rockwell.
So aerospace, military,
aerospace,
tool shops,
yep,
repair shops, and a lot of production in automotive, agriculture, and stuff like that. Some of the shafts are hardened, face hardened, or surface hardened. Wrong word. Surface hardened. You need to get through that. So things like that makes your process very difficult. This solves your problem for you.
You have a good tool, but what about the tool holder? I mean, what do you need for that?
We're obviously always going to try to recommend that you run the most concentric tool holders that you have. That's to get the best, most accurate performance out of the tool and the longest tool life. If you have heat shrink style holders, some people like to use hydraulic holders.
Mill chuck.
I mean, those are really some of the most true style.
But there's a lot of people out there who love their ER collets,
yeah.
and that's what they run them in. These will run in anything you want to hold it in. I put it in a Jacob's chuck, and we'll run it if you want to.
Yep.
It's just the more you can hold it, the better. The more concentric you hold it, the better tool life you'll have. So we can run in anything, run on any machine you have, as long as it's got a 3-axis.
Is there a maximum reach on the MilliPro?
Well, it's up to 3 times diameter. So, but like I said, if you're talking about a 7/16, it's 437 times. So that's about 1.3 inches deep. So we can do something like that. If we got to go longer than that, we do offer the MilliPro line, not the HD, and it goes up to 5 times diameter. It's the same style as this one. It's just not designed for hard material. So if you have a standard hole that goes 5 times diameter, we have a tool for that too. That's one of our products we'll probably highlight later on in another episode, but we want to tell you about it because we're trying to talk about all our solid carbide line and all our indexable line a little bit in this episode. Further go out and talk to them more about the other stuff later. And then I think we're about ready for questions and answers.
Yeah, I've got a question about it. Maybe you already answered this, but why are there just 2 teeth in the tool?
Why is there just 2 rows of teeth?
Yeah.
It's tool pressure. You to minimize your tool pressure to be able to cut the hardened materials and your super alloys, you have to reduce your tool pressure. And what I mean by tool pressure is how much engagement you have with your cutter into your material. When you're trying to reach to these depths with these small holes, you want as little tool pressure as you can generate when you're processing in a material like that. So that's why they only have 2 rows of teeth. If it's a fully serrated thread mill, which we offer several styles of, but you get a lot of tool pressure in there, and you're basically you're kind of looking for a little bit of trouble if
you're deflecting the tool.
Yeah, you're
even
getting,
solid carbide, it'll deflect a little bit.
Yep,
and you'll get a tapered
deflects.
or a broken tool. You get a tapered hole or something like that. So the less engagement, less tool pressure, the better cutting forces we have.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You want to move on to your
Yeah.
to one of the other ones?
If we don't have any other questions, then we can move on to the
TMDR.
TMDR and kind of start going over it a little bit. It's a tool we offer that this tool is unique with the way the geometry is on it, because it is kind of it's a end mill and a thread mill all tied together. You do not have to pre-drill a hole for this particular tool. That means you can basically process an entire threaded hole with one tool, instead of if you were using, say, like a center drill, a drill, a chamfer tool, and a tap. Now you're down to one tool. Again, this one has a unique geometry on it, and that it's very similar to the Milli Pro HD as far as it's got the 2 teeth, 2 rows of teeth to reduce that tool pressure, since you're doing an entire process with this tool. So
the TMDR has a end mill center cutting face on it, so it can center cut and then circular interpolate a hole just like a end mill, and then it has a 45-degree chamfer on the outside. So when you drill down through circular interpolate, I think we're showing the process right now. We should be. Then it goes down to the bottom, leaves a thread into it.
I'm seeing a close-up of it, yeah.
That leaves you one thread, half a thread from the bottom. So in a lot of holes, they want threads all the way to the bottom. This tool does that. And then it comes back up, and you can chamfer the hole with the 45-degree cutting edges on the side of it. Most standard cap screw holes want a chamfer on it.
Yeah, 45 at the top of the hole.
Yeah.
Nice, pretty chamfer for a lead-in for a bolt or whatever particular item they're going to thread into there.
So do we have a video of this, a demo of this one?
Yeah, we should have a video of this one as well. We have a test report if you'd like to see that first.
Sure. Yeah, let's
cover over, because it's basically should be like I said, very similar as to the layout on how the TMDR test report or the Milli Pro HD test report was. What I really, really, really like about this one is I know the accuracy of this one 110%, because this was actually something that I did. This is a titanium part that I went into one of our end users, and they were needing to, this particular machine, they were running out of tool holders. So they didn't have the room in the machine to put a spot drill, a chamfer tool, and a thread mill or a tap, however they, And plus, you get into titaniums. Thread milling is the way to go in any material, in my opinion, now, but I'm a little biased. But this was a titanium part that I was working on with them. Super small hole. I think what was this one? It's the 832. And we were actually running this one dry. And it was working pretty good. We got 20, was it 20 parts out of this one? I think it was about 20 or 25 parts out of this one. And it was a 52-second process. So if you break that down to see if you want to show somebody their cost savings, you did the complete process in 52 seconds, and you did it all with one tool. You didn't have your tool changes from a machine going from cut to the home to do tool changes. You eliminated 4 of those. So however long it takes for your machine to go from tip to tip, or chip to chip, they say, there's cost savings all the way around in this tool.
Also, when you use the TMDR, the threads and the hole are absolutely perpendicular to each other, right?
Yep.
And a lot of times that's most important part of a die you're making or something like that. So you go in there, you know exactly where the hole and the threads are. That's very, very important to talk about. I also talked about saving pockets in the magazine of the machine. When you only have 25 pockets and you need 30, somewhere you got to eliminate these. This tool comes in and does that for you. It's not the fastest tool that we sell. This is not near as fast as a solid carbide full-length thread, but it gets the part done, gets done right, saves your time, and saves you machine pockets in the magazine. It's a big deal. So it's something I wanted to talk about.
And another thing that I like about this particular tool is it's good up to, I think our run charts will show it up to 52 Rockwell, but I have personally run this tool in 64 Rockwell in a shop, and it cut it like smooth as butter.
What is it that we watch in the video that I think they have ready for us? Is it, what material are we?
That's in a 4140.
Yeah, the video is just a mild steel.
Okay.
But it shows the whole theory of it and how it works in a half hole than a full hole. So while that's running, we can talk about some of the other, we have 2.5 times diameter. What all pitches do we carry?
On this one here, it's a little bit more extensive than the Milli Pro that we discussed earlier. This one has a ISO offering, inch offering, and we also offer both of those with a metric and or a standard shank. Some of your end users prefer metric shank tools, and we offer this one in a NPT pipe standard. The common sizes in your NPTs and your BSPT British pipe taps, all the common standard sizes that you'll run across in those, we have an offering for all of those tools with the TMDR. And it does it's also, when you get to the inch and the isometric, we offer a 2 times D and a 2.5 times D for those little bit extra deeper holes that you got to try to accommodate.
It's another good video. And it shows the difference between running it with coolant and not.
Yeah, with the coolant, you kind of really can't. Kind of get a little lost there with the coolant.
It's one of our feature items. It's everybody's really enthused to try it. Once we talk about it and show them what we can do with test reports and videos, actual proof of what we say we can do. We'll come in and prove it. So.
Just going back to what you said, you had a customer that was running out of, they didn't have enough tool holders.
Yes, sir.
So this is going to help them not just resolve whatever issue might have been related to not having enough room in the machine for enough tools to do whatever they wanted, but now they can maybe do another process or something.
Yeah. It'll help them. It opens up some other avenues for them, depending on the capability of the machine.
So I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you an old school with Joe moment here. Usually, when you run out of pockets, you'll have the machine come over. You have to reach up and manually take the tool out, put another tool in, then go back over. And you're talking, when you're trying to save 20 seconds, when you put a manual unload and reload machine, the doors have got to open. You got to get that out, put it back in, hit the button. It takes a long time. I mean, I can remember I used to run machines. Everything was manual load. It takes a long time. So when you have something like that, you save a pocket and save them from doing something offline like that. It's a huge savings.
It opens opportunities up too. A lot of your customers will like these in live tooling lathes, and every lathe is extremely limited on tool holders. And if you have a live tooling lathe that they can put this tool in, it opens up, just different jobs that they can run through. The volume of the machine changes when you can open up tool holders.
Yeah. I think if somebody didn't want to go this route, they could be adventurous, like Isaac Bowman, and just reach in there while the machine is running and try to put in another tool.
It'll make you a quick trip to a hospital real quick. Imagine that between Phil and I, we probably got some scars that someone probably done that shit before, but
that's a big deal, though.
I'm not going to.
It is a big deal to save that kind of time, and I think I just want to jump in, unless we're ready for another Q&A.
Well, I think we're about ready there. If any other questions come in or something, Phil, you want to still talk about it? I can remember one time on this TMDR that the guy was doing gun parts. He just could not get that location right. It was on a round part, way down in there here, and we put a TMDR in. Boom, first hole was perfect. He said he tried for weeks, spotting it, spot drilling it, all kinds of things to get it to repeat. And it was one of the first ones when they first came out with these 5 years ago, maybe. It might be longer than that. But it really made a believer out of this guy. He said, I just did not think you guys didn't know what you were talking about. It's just something that wasn't going to work. So, and ever since then, it's just been growing and growing. We're expanding the line at all times, going longer depths, more pitches. So,
and this is on the Genius app?
This is on the Genius as well. It'll do your program just like the rest of them. It even has a section in there when you're running through here, as Joe was saying earlier about putting the chamfer on the top of the hole. It'll ask you specific questions on what size chamfer you want and all that good stuff. So when it generates the program, it's a complete process. There's no further steps. You've got your program, you've got your tool, you've got everything you need right there.
And we like to say we can make a hero out of that machinist or that operator or the engineer when they're having trouble. We bring one of these tools in. Everybody said, man, that's a great idea. I'm glad you found these guys. So that's what we like to do.
Well, before we move on, I want to just...
How about finish our bourbon story?
I got to tell the rest of this, because it's like you talk about adventurous. I mean, this guy, Isaac Bowman, he was in the Revolutionary War, right? And, he gets captured by the Chickasaw Indians, and he was tortured for quite a while and became a captive. He survived it, though, and managed to escape. All right, and he ended up somehow in Cuba. I don't exactly know how that goes, but he made it back to Virginia, and this is the most adventurous thing I've ever heard of in my life. He got married, had 4 kids.
Poor fella.
And his first wife dies, and so he gets married again. Has 9 children. So cheers to this guy.
Wow. He'd need a bourbon after that.
But he was working a farm, so got to remember that. But yeah, he's quite a character.
Creating his own employees, huh?
Yes, exactly. That is the way it was done.
Well, I mean, we need to start looking at another way of threading what we have here. We have a couple other product lines we want to skim over. We're going to go further into deep detail on these in in later episodes of Bourbon with the Editor, but we wanted to talk about our TMSD and our MITM and our multi-flute. So I'll let you cover them real quick.
Yeah, we'll run through the. There should be a quick slide that everybody should see, and it's just basically an overall offering of a whole wide variety of the thread mills that we offer. A couple more that I did that were probably my favorites were the mock line and the multi-flute. And I say the reason that they're probably my favorites, as a machinist of over 30 years, I really like to try to push a tool to the limit and go as fast as I could possibly make it go. And these two tools right here are the ones that you're going to really lean on when you want to, in the machining world and manufacturing, the whole industry, there's a couple things that they really, really want. Number one, they wanted it yesterday. And if you can, they would like it the day before yesterday. So when you get into areas where speed is what they're after, because not everybody's after speed. I mean, they're not. They're after a proven application that's going to give them the longest tool life they can, but also give them the best cost savings that they can obtain out of all of their tooling. But you want the speed, you need to look at the mock line or the multi-flute line. Another one that's my favorite, it's probably one of the heaviest hitters in my territory for speed, is the MITM. It's an inserted cutter that we offer. The inserts are indexable. Most people don't realize that. I think it's even listed in the catalog that it is, right? Yeah. And
the TMDR, did you say that was on the Genius app?
Yeah, any thread mill that you're going to hear me talk about, it's on the Genius app.
Okay.
Yep.
We have a little story we like to tell, how I met Phil. And in Kentucky, they had a problem at a shop. And you're going to have to help me on some of this because I don't remember the whole story. But they were doing a single point thread of large diameter.
It was an Acme Higby.
There you go.
I remember this thread well.
And then they had a competitor
machines.
was on this Mazak, and he was doing this part, this big part. It's taken hours to do it. And they said, well, we got to do something about this thread. So they contacted Vargus. Well, at that time, that was me. So I went down there.
Well, you're Joe Vargus.
So I went down there and looked at it, and I said, I got something for you. I'll bring it back next week. So I brought it back down next week. And they said, well, that's not going to work. Our suppliers said that you're out of your mind. You can't do that in less than an hour. There's no way. So I said, I'll tell you what. You name the steakhouse here in Kentucky. If I can't do it in an hour, I'll buy all you guys sitting here steak. And they go, okay. So we got it fired up, and I think we did it in 11 minutes.
It was less than 15. I know that.
Yeah. And they go, that's impossible.
They can't even get their order in that fast.
This did happen to be a very high volume part for the.
We had about half the management out there watching this part being processed because it was costing them a fortune. So we went in, programmed it, and they said, we're not even going to hit the button on that. I said, okay, I ain't paying for your machine, but I'll hit the button. So we pushed it right through there, and they go, it's unbelievable. They're still running that tool down there, I think, in the same holder, changing inserts. They're still running it down there. That's been years ago. That's how I met Phil. Now Phil works for us. So that's our little MITM story about Phil and I, how we met.
Yeah, that's that's a solid result.
Oh yeah.
And so did you
Well,
get a free steak from them?
I got, their other vendor had to buy.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
All right, we do have some other questions, I guess.
Sure.
Well, we should have a quick video of the MITM if everybody'd like to see it.
Oh yeah, if we could
see it going.
See that MITM video, that's a really good video.
Do we have a video to
yep.
on the ITM? Did you say?
Yeah, the MITM. There's a quick little video of it running too.
Okay.
So it give you a good visual of.
And while it's running, if they got questions, we can talk about other stuff. While we got a video in the background, we got a couple of them they can show, and then we have a new products with Tal Ranen coming up here pretty soon. What
What was some of the questions that have come up?
In our MITM line, we have 4 different size inserts. We have the 25. Am I right?
Yeah, 25,
Yeah.
19, 25,
40,
40, and 41.
That's right. Wow, it's
And
getting old, man. It's tough to remember these things.
that tool is offered in just about dang near any size that you're going to
Any
need.
size, every pitch. I've ran it all the way up to 48 inches
NPT.
diameter.
I just ran this tool in a shop on Monday to do a 3-inch 8 NPT. So that's a pretty good size hole.
Yeah, it is. That is.
And this is on the Genius app as well.
Yes, sir.
Like
Yep.
I said, we like to talk about our Genius. We have everybody using it. We have our competitors using it. And if you got a threading hole, a whirling problem, anything like that, we can come up with a solution. And you can come up with your own solution on the Genius if you have all the information. But feel free to get a hold of Vargus and get a hold of one of our guys or myself, and we'll help you through it.
And in essence, this interface, the Genius interface, is all of the knowledge and that's been accumulated over the years.
I think there was a number coming out of Israel one time. I don't know, 300,000 applications or something. It was a huge number, and they add them all the time. And as I've said in past, there's glitches, there's mistakes in it every once in a while. It gets updated every day out of Israel. So if we find a mistake on Monday, we put it in there on Tuesday. By Wednesday, they'll have that fixed. That's just how they keep this up. This is our gold standard. We measure everything by our Genius.
Sure. And it's what really computers are for,
Yeah.
It's like they can help us do our jobs much, much better and more efficiently.
So I think we have Tal coming up, Tal Ranen. He's our marketing manager.
There's some issue with the audio. I think we can't hear Tal.
I think Tal was going to talk about a new product we have. It's a helical MITM. I think that's what he was going to talk about. It's a really good. It reduces your tool pressure more than the MITM, and it will give you a lot better results on longer, deeper holes. So it's a new evolution, a new design, and a continuing filling out of how this MITM line and the TMSD line fit the market. I believe that's where we're at on this. So that's what he was going to talk about.
Well,
Sometimes you have the glitches when you're trying to hook up online. Everybody probably has a team meeting that went haywire. This is where we're at.
We don't worry about that. We've got some bourbon we can drink. So I'm watching the TMSD video here.
Sure.
Modular tool holder heads.
Yeah, that's another one that we put on there. We had the 2 TMSDs. One was for the weld and shank, which is just a solid tool, your standard tool holders. And then we have the TMSD, the modular heads that we also make the adapters for. And we make them in several different sizes. And that's basically a screw-on head. You can put it on any length shank, and it's really designed for really deep holes. Because if you put that on a 5 or 6 inch long shank, you can really reach out there and get some depth on it, which is part of the reason why that tool is a single point tool. It goes back to the tool pressure that you're generating when you're thread milling a hole. So if you're single pointing it, you essentially only have one insert on that holder that's engaged at a time. And so you really, really reduce your tool pressure so that you can get that extra reach.
The new idea right there is each one of those inserts, or it's in a helical design. So if there's 2 inserts, single point like he's talking, they're offset, and they don't all cut at the same time. So it's deeper hole, relieving the pressure, not more pressure, less pressure, tool pressure as you're cut threading the hole. So it's called a TMSD helical. Is our new product we were going to talk about. So I think it's a really exciting. It's going to be some limited use right now, because you got to find places where you got to go deep, but on some big weldments and things like that where you got to reach in, put a good thread, reach real deep, it'd be an invaluable tool.
Sure. This is the brand new thing. This is what
It's going to be released and be out on the market first quarter of 2025.
okay.
We're getting at MPA. New product announcement will be coming out soon, and this is one of our products that we will be featuring coming the first of the year. And as soon as we get some really good results here in America, we'll feature them on Bourbon with the Editor.
Perfect. I don't know what kind of. We've got time still, so if
Well, I
there-
think we can listen to bourbon stories from
Well,
Dennis.
I was just gonna say. I mean, can you? I just want to say about this guy who they named the bourbon after.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets captured and tortured. He was actually adopted by the chief of
Are you still
the,
talking about when he got married?
this is before.
Oh, this is before the marriage.
This is before the marriage. I remember I mentioned the guy got captured and
And tortured. So I wasn't for sure if we were still talking about
by
the marriage.
the Indians. They were torturing him, and he managed to survive whatever they did, and the chief of the tribe adopts him. and now I'm getting this all from the web, okay? So
You
this
can't
is
kill 'em.
this is so. But some guy came along. He was a trader and helped him escape, and I think that's how he ended up in Cuba. But think about that guy's life.
That's amazing. Some of those.
He ends up getting back to his hometown. Doesn't get married just once. Gets married twice.
Are we back to the torture?
Yes. Self-imposed.
I hope my wife isn't watching this.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we told her to watch.
But he must have lived a pretty nice life. He built a nice little mansion for himself. And 100 years later, his descendants, or descendants in the family, started the distillery right there in Fredericksburg, Virginia. So they've named some of their bourbon after other members of their family who.
Oh, that's
were notable.
interesting.
So it's a great little story, and you know what? I get why they named this one after him. It was different, and he lived a different life.
Yeah.
And it is a good one for this episode to talk about some of these tools that are
And Phil,
so different.
we got through the whole thing without one yaw. I'm pretty proud of
Well,
that.
I mean, you guys brought me up here, and everybody likes to make fun of me because I'm the Kentucky guy, but I'm not from Kentucky. I was born in Florida. I just I don't know this.
You got
accent.
kidnapped and brought to Ohio, right?
Well, I went from Florida to Colorado to where I live now, and I just stayed there. And when you're around that so long, you're going to get the accent because you have to be one of them, or they'll torture you. If you're not. So, when you come down there with this,
Okay, I won't pick on you no more. That was a pretty good story. I like that.
And then Joe Vargus adopts you.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, and I have to do the talking down there because they don't understand him. So that's when the yawls and the all that stuff will come out, and he has to have a map. We turn by the oak tree and the red barn, go down the gravel road 3 miles, all that good stuff. So
Well, Dennis, thank you for inviting us back.
Sure.
And
sure.
we'll see you again soon on
Yeah.
another Bourbon with the Editor.
We might do another one in December, and we have other plans for next year as
Sure.
well. So
We want to expand this out and see what we can do with it. We have a lot of product to look at, a lot of adventures, and a lot of different unique solutions that Vargus has brought to the market. Some standard, some specials. You would not. Sometimes we can just fix a problem in machining any way you look at it. So, pretty good all-rounded company. So, thank you for inviting us.
can I
appreciate
end?
it.
Can I end with a toast to my daughter?
Yeah.
She graduated from Lincoln Tech. She's now an electrician
well,
Nice.
congratulations.
last night.
Very
So
good.
Cheers to Karina Spaeth, my great daughter.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thanks everyone for spending this time with us. We hope you enjoyed it, and let us know what you might who you might want to hear from.
Sure.
And
We have a whole cast of characters, so we can bring more in.
I don't play
Or one of our
anyone but
favorites.
myself, but yeah. Thanks again. Cheers, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.